Washington State University. Go Cougs!
Hello and welcome back to the course on collecting smartphone sensor data using iOS. We're in Module 2 where we're learning how to collect the data and display it on the device. And in this last part of Module 2, we will be handling the possibility that the user might change the authorization to the location services, since they can do so outside of the app. So let's see how to handle those changes. If you recall from the last part, we introduced the notion of a delegate. And a delegate, again, is a class that handles various messages from an outside source, like our location manager. And we looked at the did update locations and did fail with error methods. In this part, we'll be looking at a third method, which is the did change authorization method. Now, this method is called whenever the user changes the authorization to the location services, either by disabling them completely or disabling them to our particular app. If we jump ahead to the code, so this is the method we're going to be adding. It's called did change authorization, and it's passed in the status, the new status that the user has just changed to. So in our case, all we need to do is to check and see if authorization is now denied or restricted, in which case we will stop the location updates. And if we ever restart the sensor app, we will not start the location updates until the status is returned to one of the authorized versions. In this case, it would be authorized always or authorized when in use. So you can see down here, and we'll see this in the simulator, but this is the settings app. And in the privacy part of the settings app, this is where the user can disable location services across the device, so for all the apps. And you can see normally down here there would be a list of all the apps that use location services. In our case, the only other app is our sensor app. If we were to click on that, we'll go into the sensor app's location services settings. And normally, of course, we would see that while using the app is checked and authorized. But if the user were to check the never, then of course we would be sent a message saying that the authorization has changed, in this case to denied. Okay, so again, we're going to add this method to our sensor app to handle those changes, and then we'll see how it works. So let's get out of the notes here. I'm going to go ahead and copy this method, go into Xcode, and open up our sensor app. And then right here below the last method we added, I'll add this new one. And again, get rid of a few extra spaces. Okay, so there we've added our did change authorization method, so that will be called whenever authorization is changed. Note that if the authorization changes from denied or restricted back to authorized, then that will be handled up here. That will be handled up here when we do the start location updates. Every time we try to start the location updates, we check to see if they're authorized. So yes, this method would be called if the authorization changes to authorized. We won't do anything here. But once we start the location updates, that's when we'll realize, yes, in fact, authorization has been restored and we can start updating the location. So in our app, that means we would have to stop the sensors and then start them again if that authorization changes. You might want to do something fancier in your own app in terms of, for example, if your sensors are started and you get a message saying that authorization has been restored, you may want to start up location services right then. But in our case, we'll keep it simple and have to start or stop and start our sensors in order to get that location updates going again. One other small change we're going to make here, you might remember from last time, with 3 decimal places of precision, we didn't see the location update very often, even on the freeway drive. So I'm going to change these to 6s so that we have a little bit more precision and we'll see the updates happening more often. Okay, so let's start up our app in the simulator. And I'll go ahead and hit start. And so again, this is the freeway drive that we're simulating. And you can see they're updating pretty regularly. So now let's say that the user leaves this app. So I'm going to simulate a home button click, which is Shift Command H. So I'll do Shift Command H, takes me back to the home screen. I'm going to scroll over one, click on the settings, and then I'm going to click on privacy. Then I'll click on location services. And again, here I could completely disable them, but I'm just going to go into my app. So I'll click on my app and change it to never. Okay, so now the location services to the sensor app should be denied or restricted. So let me back up a little bit and again hit Shift Command H to go to the home screen. Swipe over and we'll start up our sensor app or go back to it, and you'll see that even though the sensors are started, we're not getting the location updates. Even if I stop it and start again, I'm still not getting them. Again, that's because the access is denied. Now you might know on an iOS device that if you hit the home button twice fairly fast, you'll kind of go into an album or a binder of all of the apps that are running. So that allows us to move around a little quicker. So I'll do that. Again, hitting the home button twice. Go back into privacy, location services, and our sensor app, and restore the authorization. Again, you can see that it prints out our reason for using location services. Again, it helps the user to understand why that we want it. And then again, Shift Command H twice. Oops, I guess I just hit it once, but we'll go back into our sensor app. And now so again, the location isn't updating just because we don't react immediately to the reauthorization. I have to stop the sensors and then start them again. And now we see we are in fact receiving the location updates again. So that's a simple way that we can respond to the user changing the authorization even when our app is not running in the foreground. Alright, so I'll stop that, stop our app from running and go back into the notes. Okay, so that completes this part where we added the ability to react to changes in the authorization to location services. and we used the delegation method to do that. We just added yet another method that's defined in the protocol for that delegate, and then made the updates to our sensor app. And with that, that completes Module 2. Congratulations. In this module, you saw how to access these sensors on the device and how to display that sensor information on the device's display. And of course, you saw the kind of underneath how we can get access to the sensors, check their availability, and also to get authorization, which means at least providing a reason for why we want to access it. But in the case of location, we also have to explicitly ask the user for their permission to use it, and also monitor the possibility that they might change that later on. So the last thing that you will probably want to do with an app that collects sensor information is to get that information off of the device and to a server so that you can do further analysis. And so in the next module, we'll be looking at how to do that.